In our last video on linear functions and slope, we'll talk about a third form for the equation of a line. Every line can be written in general form, sometimes called standard form. And there's really two acceptable ways of writing standard form. We can say capital AX plus capital BY is equal to C. That's one option. Or you can say capital A plus capital BY plus C is equal to 0. So the constant term you can have on either side. And don't get hung up on the fact that I didn't subtract C from both sides and it should be a minus C here. This is just the form. A, B, and C can be any numbers, any real numbers. Now note that A and B can't both be 0 because then you would have no variables whatsoever. And then this would force C to be 0, and you do not have the equation of a line in that case. All right, well, let's manipulate a line or two that are in this general or standard form. Let's find the slope and the y-intercept of this equation. And remember, once we know the slope and y-intercept, if I wanted to, I could write this equation in the slope-intercept form. It would be equivalent to this, just written in a different form. And then we'll graph the line. So find the slope and y-intercept. How do you think we should do this? Well, how about we just put this into slope-intercept form and pull out the slope and pull out the y-intercept. So let's get the term 6y by itself. The first thing I'm going to do is say 6y is equal to, okay, I have to subtract 3x from both sides and add 12. So all I did to go from here to here, I did two things. I did it two in one step. I subtracted 3x, which got rid of it here, and I added 12, which left me with just 6y on the left. And I've got negative 3x plus 12 on the right. And then we'll divide by 6, everything, to get y by itself. And that'll give us y equals negative 3 over 6 is the same as negative 1 over 2x. 12 over 6 is 2. So I'm going to use this equation to answer the question. The slope, m, equals negative 1/2. That's this number right here, the coefficient of the x. And the y-intercept, b, if you want to call it b, would be 2. So to graph it, I go to y-intercept of 2, and then note that the slope is negative 1 over 2. So rise over run. So I'm going to go down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. Down 1 to the right 2. And the line should look something like that. It's not a great line, but you get the idea. All right. Let's do one more example and then summarize a bit. Well, find the x and y-intercepts and graph this equation. Well, I don't know that I explained how to obtain the x and y-intercepts. Remember what they are. The x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. One method to do this, and the way I like, is it works every time. For the x-intercept, you set y equals 0, solve for x. For the y-intercept, set x equals 0, solve for y. And whatever you get when you solve for x and y, this will be the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So we can probably do this in our heads because this is a nice easy equation. Let's set x equal to 0. 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 6. Well, 3 times 0 is 0. Negative 2y equals 6 means when we divide by negative 2, we get y equals negative 3 because it's 6 over negative 2. So this is the y-intercept. And let's find the x-intercept. we will set that, oh yeah, that's a y-intercept. So now we're going to find the x-intercept. We're going to set y equal to 0. So when we set y equal to 0, we get 3x minus 2 times 0 is equal to 6, which means this term is 0, and we get 3x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3, and you'd get x equals 2. That's the x-intercept. So the y-intercept is -3. The x-intercept is 2. So we found the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and then we graphed the line. All right, let's summarize what we've done in this section. Equations of lines. What is the point-slope form for the equation of the line? Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now, if you were simply writing that, you really need to say what the unknowns are. I'll let you write it down, but this is the equation where m is the slope, and what's x1, y1? x1 comma y1 is just any point on the line. The slope-intercept form, that's the one that we probably mostly remember, y equals mx plus b, most commonly used probably, where m is the slope of the line and b is the y-intercept. The general form, well, it's written up above on this sheet, but I'll go ahead and write it. ax plus by equals c, or ax plus by plus c equals 0. Either one of these is acceptable for the general or standard form. In a horizontal line, we can write like y equals b, where b is any number. Sometimes I like to write it as y equals a number. The format of every horizontal line is y equals a number. The reason we use b is because in y equals mx plus b, a horizontal line has a slope m of 0. So this term goes away, I'm deleting it, with y equals b. And then frequently for the vertical vertical lines are the only line where there's no y, only x. X equals a. In other words, every vertical line has to be of the form x equals some number. So those are formulas you should memorize.